welcome everybody to the second day of the lectures of D4 sidelines. So here we go with the trompowsky. In fact, I have very good memories with the white side of the trompowsky. Knight f6, bishop g5. The main reason for that is that the players with the black pieces would choose lines that give white very easy play. The first thing that we need to do is to explain why we choose this move d5, which is objectively the best. In the past, around 20 to 25 years ago, everybody would play this line. This line was very fashionable, but right from the start, I didn't like it for black. But this was like all considered almost forced in the trompowsky. And white, apart from the fact that he had three ways to play, which are already way too many, he could play this, which is totally coffee house play. He could play h4, favored by Grandmaster Igor Miladinovich, for example. He had great scores with this unusual move. And the best move is bishop f4, sometimes intending f3, sometimes e3, knight d2. And so there was a lot of theory, but generally black wouldn't get so good positions. How about the move e6 here for black? First of all, let's clarify one thing. Bishop g5 second move should not be confused with the torre. Bishop g5 is not the torre. The torre starts with knight f3 second move to see what is happening. And if black goes e6 here or g6, white has the option to play bishop g5. And this is not a trompowsky. This is a torre opening. There are some similarities, and they can transpose from trompowsky to the torre opening only if both opponents want it. Usually none of them wants it. So after bishop g5, indeed the move e6 is playable and good. I have played this move in the past as well, but now white has a wide variety of moves and plans. He can play e3 transposing to various versions of the torre. He can play this clever move order knight d2, and he can even play a pure trompowsky move e4. Is there a problem in this line for black? No, after h6, the position is pretty much acceptable, but there is a big practical problem here. White has 2 or 3 different plans to choose, and he can analyze them easily in great depth. This is the problem. So we will be playing against a player who is, in fact, very well prepared in this sideline with bishop g5, and we won't be able to reach his level of knowledge and of experience in this line. So by definition, we will have a disadvantage. This disadvantage does not exist at all if we play d5. Why is that? Because after this move, our play is natural and good. Now, after d5, it is important to note that this position is once again an independent trompowsky opening, independent trompowsky variation, which means it cannot transpose by force, for example, to the Queen's Gambit or to the Slav defense. Because what if we are not Queen's Gambit players? Or what if we are not Slav defense players? So this d5 move is an independent opening. White has a few ways to play. We will not examine this move because this move is in transposes to the Veresov. We will examine it on the second lecture of today. And usually a trompowsky player will take here, which is not the only move, but the most typical trompowsky move. So after taking on f6, there are 2 equally good moves, g takes f6 and e takes f6. I strongly suggest this move because it is a lot more solid than g takes f6. We can play for win, and we have very easy plans, really very easy plans. So after e takes f6, as you will see, not much, once again, not much concrete knowledge is needed, like which move order to play here, there. Of course, there is some knowledge required, but generally we will play with plans. So we will start by examining this position and white's very logical move, e3. Now, our setup will be with bishop d6, the bishop will go there. Now don't mind the moves by white once again. This pawn will go here. This pawn will go here. This knight will go here and on f6. And we will castle in which move order? In an almost random move order, as we will see, almost random. So depending on what white is doing as well. If he plays quiet moves, development moves, then the move order doesn't matter. So we will definitely play the moves c6, bishop d6, knight d7, and f5. And we will see after that. We can start with bishop d6. We can start with c6, and we can also start with knight d7. This is another elegant move order. In all cases, we will reach the same position. So here we go. In this game, I played bishop d6. This is a bleach game, but the analysis of the game will fully cover the whole trompowsky line with bishop takes f6, e takes f6. I forgot to ask if you can hear me and see me very well. I'm happy. Thank you. So bishop d6. Let's suppose that white plays c4. It is important to note that whenever we see c4 early in the game, it is absolutely necessary to take it. It doesn't matter that his bishop will go to c4 in one move. Playing c6 is a very bad move. White will take here, and now the d5 pawn is obviously very weak. And white theoretically has 3 light square pieces, minor pieces, 3 pieces that can operate in light squares, 2 knights and 1 bishop. We have only 2 pieces that can operate in light squares. This means that in the long term, we may have problem with our pawn on d5. We will have problem with this pawn. Additionally, this position is now very static. And by definition, this is preferable for the knights. And white has an extra knight here. So very simple. Bishop d6 or knight d7 or c6 or even f5. But when I see c4, I stop whatever I'm doing and I take it. So c4, d takes c4, bishop takes c4. Now we can continue with one of the typical moves. In other words, in this game, f5 was played. f5 is good, knight d7 is good, castling short is also good, maybe even c6 is good. Yes, all of these moves. So we almost randomly pick up one move. In the game, I played f5. Let me give you another example. For example, knight d7, he goes knight c3. What if he plays knight e2? Again, the same. f5 or c6 or short castling. What if he does this? Again, the same. f5, c6 or short castling. What if he plays a novelty, this move? Again, the same, I guess. So, knight c3, f5, knight f3, for example, we castle. Queen c2. Now, in reality, white is not really threatening to take on f5. Yes, we can play knight f6, but a totally acceptable move and a very typical idea is also this. This is anyway part of our plan, playing c6. And if white takes it, this is a very, very typical tactical motive. We play here, and the bishop on c4 is lost, or black or white has to sacrifice his queen for 2 pieces. Black is winning, in other words. Okay, knight f6, and he castles. Now let's see. Let's continue with our plan. We will play c6. And white can play any move. For example, he plays this move, or he plays this move, rook a to c1. Look now, from now on, how we will develop the pieces. This bishop will go here on d7. We don't want to put it here because we don't want to exchange it. The queen will go here, so queen e7, bishop d7. Our g6 pawn or g7 pawn will certainly go to g6, possibly followed by king g7 in the coming moves. And this is how we will develop our pieces. For example, I go queen e7, or I go bishop d7. The way I see it now, we need to be careful. This move is not possible. I'm always careful about this move because we take it and we play knight here. If I see that I am afraid of this move where he wants to take our bishop on d7, but we want to keep the pair of bishops, then I will start with queen e7. Okay, let's suppose I play this and he plays such a move. We will now play queen e7. Very good. And let's suppose he plays a move like this. Now we have several good moves, not this move because this can be annoying. Maybe we can take unnecessary complications. So what to play here? We can play g6, intending king g7. We can also play this, it feels maybe a little bit premature, and we can move also our rooks somewhere here on c8, on d8. Let's say I play g6. Now, a very, very, very important thing to know is that when he goes d5, when and if he plays d5, can you guess the move for black here, please? Who will guess the move? In almost every case, our move will be c5. It doesn't matter if in this particular position the computer may suggest here, okay, this may be an exception, but our move will be c5. It is very important to give white a passed pawn on d5 and safely blockade it. Now look, when we blockade the pawn, first of all, we can see that all of white's pieces are hitting on his own pawn. Look, the bishop is hitting there, the knight is hitting there, all the pieces. Imagine white doubling his rooks and still hitting on this pawn on d5. And when we block one pawn, it is very important to block it safely. In other words, we want this piece, and we will give a battle for that, we want this piece not to be disturbed by white's pieces. Indeed, if white goes here, I will not play such moves. I am not naive, hoping for a6 and kick him back and come back to d6, because complications will definitely start, and they will find us unprepared with the bishop on b8 and undeveloped. So what to do here? We will, of course, capture this knight. And after taking, black is already better. In this particular position, black has also got a very clear idea to play a6, of course, and b5. Black now has a clear advantage. This knight will soon come here, and we can play in both sides of the board. Remember, white's king side can always become weak. Let's suppose that for some reason we cannot play a6, and I play this move. It is white to move. He goes a4. I play now a6, and he goes back. We will continue developing the pieces like that. We are very happy that nobody can approach this bishop. Possibly we will put the knight on d6 one day, but the bishop is also doing a great job. And here the question would have been, how about this move, this fixing on the structure? I remember very well, Mr. Ioannis, you taught us about fixing the structures and everything. Well, I would call this an unhealthy fixing of the structure. Why? Because this pawn on a5 is very, very weak. In all the endgames, it will be the first one to go down. And additionally, we fix here, and there is absolutely no pawn break. This move is totally impossible to be played. How will black continue here? What do you think? What would you play with the black pieces? This is not an easy question. Let's see. Who will suggest a move for black? This is not at all easy. If it is taking too long, I will suggest. So a good move for black would have been, how about this? I would call this maybe a little bit premature, this g5, maybe a little bit premature. After g5, we are indeed threatening such moves. He will play g3. And I don't feel ready for that. I consider this a little bit premature. I would like instead to play h5. I really like this move. This move has zero cost because it does not open our king. However, we feel that at a good moment we may play here, or we may play h4 and g5. For example, when I see such a move, indeed we are now very close to playing h4. This knight will not stay here forever. So we may prepare it, play here, and go for h4. Very good. This h5 move, winning some space, it's important and good. And if he ever dares to play this, then at a good moment, we may play g5. Or maybe even f4. Possibly not f4. And if he plays h3, now we have various ideas. One idea is to use this h3 as a hook to open files. Another idea is to fix it with h4 and to play endgames. Very good. So let's go back once again. c4, dc4. Whenever he goes c4, we take it. He takes with the bishop. We can play c6, f5, knight d7, or short castling. Is some move better than the other here? No, they are exactly equally good. So let me try this line, short castling. This is just a game. Instead of white putting his pieces here and on c3, he played knight e2. This is also acceptable. Nothing much changes. We continue with our plans. f5, g3 was played in this game. It looks a little bit premature. Let's play knight d7. Here, knight f6, knight here, and c6. Black has a very good game. This knight on e2 is less good than on f3. For example, he castles short, and nothing will change now. Who will suggest the 2 or maybe 3 good moves for black? 3 good moves for black, very fast and very easily. And this is, I repeat, one of the reasons why I choose this line, because it is easy to learn. I see 3 moves, very good. They have to be typical moves. Should I play here? No, this is a non-standard move. Remember, in the openings, there is no space for non-standard moves. Very, very rarely a non-standard move like this one, or this one, or this one, and here, or I don't know what, king h8. Very rarely such a move can be good. Each opening has its own standard moves, and both players should play standard moves, both of them, not just black. So queen e7 is good and bishop d7 is good. Let's suppose that he goes here. Actually, rook a to d1 was played in this game. Queen e7 and knight f4. If white goes here, once again, we will play this. Let's suppose he goes here, or a4. I play g6. And now look at this, please. He plays here. Anyway, black has a very good move, a very good position. Anyway, no matter what we play, any normal move will do, like this one, for example. However, we have a particularly good idea here. Who will suggest what is the best move for black here? I see many good moves, but I'm not sure which one is the best. The best move is, in fact, very well pointed out, bishop c8, intending a6. For example, he plays such a move. We happily go a6, and we go back to d7 here. Black has a perfect game. Black is, in fact, better. And additionally, due to the fact that the knight is not here, but here, we may even continue with this move, h5 very early and h4, intending king here, h4, and all this stuff. He plays here. Please be careful about such moves. So, and with our bishop doing something, I would like to play king g7 here to feel safe. Very good. Black is already better. Quite often after a knight f4 move, we capture it. You may also see this move, but I don't think that in this position, this is the best. you will see other examples where after a very early knight f4, we can capture it. So king g7, black has a great game. Very good. Let's go back once again. So what matters is exactly this, the understanding of the position. Move orders do not really matter. Let me now show you another idea. So queen e7, here I played this move. And now look, previously I played a4. Look at this, please. c5, now please be careful. And he goes here, but we talked about it, bishop c8. No, this is not exactly the same position. Look, there is one detail missing. There is one detail missing. So bishop c8 is playable, but we are not as happy as before. How will white continue after bishop c4, bishop c8? What do you think? Why after bishop c8 black is not really better, but he just stands very well? What is happening after bishop c8 this time? It's not exactly the same as before. We will find it. White to play and equalize the game. There is only one way for white. Who will find it? White should make use of all the details of the position. The correct move is bishop d3, very good, as already pointed out. Threatening here, and now we want to play two moves in a row. We want to play g6 and a6, but this is not possible. It is white to move. He will go here. How about taking here? I don't even want to consider this move. Most likely this move is blundering. And here, how about this? Again, I don't want to consider. This is a very naive move. We should not play here. We should simply develop maybe this, but this, when he takes, I cannot take with a knight here. He will take this pawn. So the best thing to do is to play this natural move, threatening to capture the knight. Here, he will take it, and queen takes d6. Again, we have a very satisfactory position. One day we may put the knight on d6. Why was the move no bishop d3 with a4 included? To show you both examples, to show you both situations. So bishop d7, next is queen e7. Now, if white plays a premature knight f4 move, we also have another option. I can play queen e7. I can play g6. Please, after g6, do not play this move because we have destroyed everything. So I can play here and such moves. However, when I see a fast knight f4 move, it is quite possible that I will capture it here. Yes, black has a great game. If white takes like this, he has an isolated pawn. Black stands very well. And if white takes like this, again, we have a very solid and good position. Long term, we will play here and possibly bishop e6. There is not really an attack for white here. The material is very limited. And our plan, let's say long term, is to play maybe c5, b5, play in the center, and maybe make use only much later of white's weak king. Imagine one natural position with queens and rooks on the board, where white will have a weak king on g1, and we will have a safe king on g8. Very good. So let's try again. Bishop d6, c4. By the way, let's suppose that he plays this plan knight d2. Also totally acceptable. Nothing changes. We will either play f5 or c6 or knight d7. Look at this, please. Here, let's suppose that he plays this. And he plays this. Now look at this move. Black obviously has a very good position. We can play knight f6, we can play c6, or even castle first. How about this move? This move is, of course, a terrible positional blunder. Who would ever play this move? Why are we even commenting on it? This f6 move is a terrible positional mistake. Now our knight is very misplaced. Our queen has lost control of the queen side, and we have so many weaknesses. we can get this position by a bad version. Look, with one pawn on f5 and one pawn on f6. Look, a bad version. In the past, I have suggested this repertory for white. Look, here we are. By a magical way, we got this position, you see? So, in fact, if I put this pawn here, then this bad version of the Dutch defense becomes a good, totally acceptable version of the Trompowsky. Black will play knight f6 with it, or bishop d6 with a totally acceptable position. But if I put it here, black is just strategically lost. Very good. Good to know. It's always very healthy strategically to be able to compare positions. This shows deep understanding. So white can play several ideas. For example, here, f5. Let's suppose he plays this move. I cannot play knight d7. Now I can play c6 or even g6. For example, he plays here. We castle, he castles, and c6. Do I want to play this move? Not really. I don't want to play this move. This is a playable system. It is a slightly different version. But when he comes here or here and I take it, our bishop on e6 will be exposed. And we don't want to exchange it. So the move to play here is g6, or maybe even already g6 here. For example, he castles, knight d7, and let's suppose c4. I will take it. I can even play this. It's the same pawn structure. And if he takes it, I will take with the knight. Or just take here. For example, he takes with the knight, bishop c7, and we will reach something very similar, and castles. Instead of white having a knight here, he will have a knight here. So the plans are very similar once again. For example, here, queen e7, this bishop will go here or on d7, and we put our pieces in the center, and we have a fine game. Let us now check how this game was played in the Trompowsky. So move by move, bishop d6, c4, takes, f5, knight d2, knight d7, so many move orders, castles, knight f6, knight c3, and c6. Black could have also played other move orders. Here, white played a4. This appears to be a weak move. Here is another important idea. Is it important after knight d2 to play c6? Not really. There are also some bishop b4 checks. Not really. It's good, though. So look at this, please. d5, c5. Yes, white can play knight b5. Then we will castle short. If here we will castle short, he takes here, we take with the queen. We have a very good position, the bishop here. The queen is not the ideal blockader. However, when we see a queen on d6, we immediately think how our opponent can attack this queen with a minor piece and kick it away and push d6. It is not possible. A knight can threaten this queen theoretically from f5. It's going to be very well protected with g6. From e4, it's impossible. From b5, we will soon put this square under control with bishop d7 and possibly even a6. And from c4, however, with one look, we understand that the knight from e2 is standing very far away from c4 square. It needs so many moves to go there. So it is practically impossible for white to do what theoretically is good, to kick away our queen, our bad blockader from d6 and push d6 himself. Very good. However, after this move order and d5, there is another reason why I would like to show you this position. Look, we will play c5, and after this check, yes, we can play bishop d7. Nothing happens. We still have a good position. However, look at this move. King f8. This is a wonderful move, king f8. And the idea is, of course, again, g6, king g7. And the other idea is to keep the pair of bishops. For example, white plays here. How to continue in this position, please? Show me your understanding. First of all, should I sacrifice here? No. We have 0 chances for this to be good, because if we ever need the help of the rest of our pieces, we won't get it. I don't be, not 0 chances. There is a chance that this is good. So anyway, strategically, of course, the move is a6 first to control this square. He goes a4, and typically we don't care so much about this fixing of the structure. Can I play b6? Possibly we can play here. Possibly we can play b6. Okay, possibly strategically it is good, but this a6 pawn may be weak. Okay, this requires some thinking. g6 is also good enough. For example, here, bishop d7, queen d2. If here, of course, we can take on a5, but theoretically, even this is good enough. And let's suppose he goes queen d2, we go, okay, check. This check might be winning now according to the computer, but strategically speaking, king g7, then here I will capture it, and I will bring my rook into play. Black once again has very satisfactory play because this a5 is additionally very weak. And white can never play b4. So here, and h5 with very good play for black. Very good. Let's see how this game was played after all. a4 doesn't look like a good move. h5. I played this move h5, intending maybe to sacrifice on h2. This is another interesting approach. Of course, I could have castled short. So h5 is the move. a5 and g6. Queen here. Queen e7. I'm keeping the tension here. Finally, I castle short. I hesitated to sacrifice. Knight f7 threatening to take on g6. And now king g7. Black has a very good game. h4 was played and king g2. Bishop d7. Remember, in chess, it is very important to find a way to develop the pieces. So bishop d7, indeed, it is good. If he takes on b7, he will end up in trouble. He played here, rook b8, I'm protecting everything, and next move is this one. So don't be in a hurry, please. Don't be in a hurry. The secret is not to talk. The secret is to watch and wait. So we will go to the other variation as well. So rook h8. We are here, and black has a very strong attack intending g5 and g4. Very good. So let's go back once again, and we continue with the analysis of this very important position and of the typical plans. Let's check this very well played bleach game. So bishop g5, d5, and he takes it. E takes f6 and e3. Bishop d6, c4. There are other possible plans for white, as we will see here. So dc4, bishop takes, castles, knight here. c6 is good and f5 is good. White put the knight here, f5, castles. If white plays here, how to continue, please? Who will help us? How to continue? Very good. The move is knight d7 because he cannot take it. Knight e5 is coming. So knight d7 and castles and knight f6. By the way, let us see again one important detail. First of all, this is not possible. We take it and knight g4. Black is winning a pawn. Secondly, let's suppose he plays here. Please pay attention now. I don't want to play this move because this is annoying this time, and he wants to capture the bishop on d7. So the best move is, of course, queen here. If d5, we will push c5 once again. here and bishop d7. Now look at this. After queen e7, which is the best move, he goes here. This is an important plan to know. Rook f to e1, obviously intending e4. What is happening here? The answer is white doesn't really have a threat. Black can continue with his plan. He can play g6 or bishop d7. Look at this, please. I played bishop d7. I want to continue with g6 and everything. And he plays here. Look, this e4 move hardly ever works. We take it. He takes it. And now the easy way to play is always this. We take it and our queen gets the f6 square. For example, rook takes queen f6. According to the computer, we are already threatening this. Black is always at least equal here and possibly better. So after an e4 move, the easiest way to play is to exchange everything and play queen f6. And although this plan would look scary, it is not scary at all. Black has a perfect game. And after queen e7 and e4, sometimes there is also another line. Sometimes there is also this. And after taking bishop f5, the simplest is to take, but bishop f5. So bishop f5 also works several times. However, we need to consider this move. I believe now we lost. In this position, I am not sure. Takes here, and now he can take on f7, or it may become very complicated. So we keep in mind that the move bishop f5 can be very complicated. And the simplest solution is to take here and queen f6. You can get this position in various versions, so many versions, this plan with e4. It is important to know that it doesn't work. Let's check how this game was played. So knight f6 here. g6 was played. I would have played queen e7, d5. And here, this is the normal move. However, this is an exception. Black played b5. And here we are learning that sometimes this plan can be good too, because this plan appears to be winning a pawn. After this, we will play b4. And after this, we will take this pawn. Our strategy appears to be risky. If white ever manages to capture on d4 with a knight, we will be in trouble. This is kind of unusual play. He cannot take here, by the way. This is kind of unusual play, but we do have a pawn up. Should we play like this? I'm not sure. You may play at your own responsibility, let's say. This move is nice, simple, and good. c5. However, b5 can sometimes be very good. Let's check now another very good game in the Trompowsky. Several games to see all the possible plans. Just a second. Let me find the game that I am talking about. Wait, where is it? Just give me a second. It's this one. Here, yes, this one. So I am playing with the black pieces. This is a rapid game played in internet. So c4. I usually prefer the move order bishop d6. Are there any ideas for white? Yes, there are two more ideas in this line. We will see them, of course. So here I took castles, here f5, knight d7, knight f6, and a very good version for black. Here he castles, and I believe the best move is bishop d7 now. There is no knight e5 coming. Let's better play this to develop the pieces. White played rook to d1 and queen e7. White doesn't even have equality here. That's why we are studying this line. White needs to know what he's doing. He played here, and now it is possible to capture this knight. I played g6. It is also possible to just take here. Again, we have a very good position. I played g6. He played here, and once again, this is the position that we are not afraid of his e4 move. Since it is my turn to play, I did play here, rook e8. But I could as well have played not this move, please. He takes here. I could have played, for example, this move, rook a d8. And once again, if e4, I will take it, he will take it, and now I'm facing the same dilemma. I hesitate between bishop f5 and knight takes e4. In this particular position, they both look good. For example, I take here and queen f6. Black is better. I'm already threatening bishop f5. Very good. However, in the game, I played rook f to e8. He played a4. He is afraid of my b5 move. I played king g7. Only typical moves so far. This is how we play chess. h4, and finally h6. h6 is logical after his h4 move, because at a good moment, I want to play g5. So this move was played. I played knight e4. It makes a lot of sense. And f takes, and black is already better. I played this, actually, and I am winning an exchange all of a sudden. Bishop here. He played here. Yes, I took it, and g5. And he resigned here. Very well played, simple game. Now, here is another wonderful game with a different plan. This is the game between Grandmaster Andreikin and Grandmaster Tomaszewski. Let's check this game, which is very important for the understanding of this line. How about e3 here? Of course, we will examine this move. Be patient. First, we need to understand everything here. So he takes it, e takes f6, e3. Here we will see something else. After bishop d6, white didn't play the plan with an early c4. He used the plan with g3 and bishop g2. He can start this plan by this move first, or knight e2 first, or maybe even this move immediately. How shall we play against this plan? The answer is with exactly the same way. Let's see, but there are some differences a bit later. So here, we will still play c6, f5, knight d7, or short castling. This move was played by Tomaszewski, and c6, and bishop e6. This is not our usual move. However, this is one of the differences. We will possibly play this move bishop e6 only a bit later. Let's see. Here, knight f6. And now, usually, white doesn't play this move. If he plays this move, we can take it and play bishop c7, and next is bishop e6. Usually, white here, instead of c4, plays b3 and c4, intending, when we capture on c4, to take with the pawn. So this is another important plan to be added here. And in this position, we will play this move. Let's have a look at this, please. And now we will play logical moves like g6, maybe rook e8, maybe queen e7. And look, when he takes here, this move is playable. But according to the computer, even this move is playable this time. This is an exception because white's pieces are strangely placed, and white cannot really attack the pawn on d5. Besides, a knight will appear here on e4 very soon. So according to the computer, black has an at least equal game. So this is another version, and this is why, by transposition, when Grandmaster Tomaszewski saw this g3 bishop g2 setup, he said, I'm going to play bishop e6 anyway. Let me play it now. And he played it now. Castles, knight d7. Queen d3 was played this time, f5, and knight f6, c4, and he waits. Queen e7. Now, once again, if c takes d5, he can take it with a knight and possibly even with a pawn. Instead, white played this, and let's continue, please. G6 and a3. How about this? This is a common idea on various versions, and here every side starts their attack. Our pawn will come here, our king will come here, and what I like very much is that we have also strong play in the center with knight e4. That's why, and later g5, h4, that's why we are not really worried about this move. Very good. So let's see how they played here. Black has good counterplay with h5 and h4. Let's see just a few more moves. Black can also defend very well. And it seems that black is better here. Later he won the game. Let us now check another plan, another game in the same plan. Here is this very well played game. White has a rating of 2385 and black has a rating of 2530. So d5, he takes it, he takes f5. Then e3, bishop e6. This is not going to be our choice. This move is premature, in my opinion, if white gets to play this and c4, and after this c4 takes with the bishop. So in all these versions, the move bishop e6, although it is playable, I don't really like it. But after g3, our mistake has been forgiven. Knight d7 and bishop d6, f5, castles, b3, yes, knight f6. And after here, who remembers what to play, please? What to play? We will play c6. And if c d5, we take with the c pawn or even with a knight, but with the c pawn, the computer is giving us an advantage. So he castles, and now let's suggest a couple of moves. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 possible moves for black. I want only one thing. I want my moves to be typical moves, not such a move, for example. So we can play queen e7, we can play g6, we can possibly even play this move. This little bit premature, So let's see how black played. He played knight e4. This is absolutely acceptable and good. c5, bishop here. How about knight f4 here? After knight f4, in this particular position, we can even play here. But taking on f4 is always good. This position may become a little bit too much drawish, but we do have play here. b6 and a5 or a5 first, we do have play. Please note that this knight is powerful here. He cannot really take it. Black will be better. And he cannot even play f3 because we will go back with the knight. Maybe even here and knight b5 in this particular position. But let's say even here. And now his bishop here is really terrible. And the same goes for his knight. We will start playing b6, knight d7 and b6. And we will start playing on the other side. So this plan with knight f4 doesn't look so good. We will take it. Let's see what happened here. Queen c2 and h5. Of course, h5. If here, the move is probably g5. He takes it, and now I don't like this because of knight f3. And he blocks everything. After g5, I would like to remove this knight first. And now take here. And our plan is, of course, to play h4. Here, black has a very, very good game. So this is how to play in this version, h5, for example, here. Now, here is the question. Should we play a6 or not? What do you think? What is the answer? Should we play a6 or ignore him and push h4? The answer is correct by all of you. We must not play a6. What if the computer suggests a6 all of a sudden? Well, it is done because it calculated some variation after 15 moves where it may become useful. But we must evaluate positions like humans. Yes, we cannot remember this position as part of theory. That would be a total waste of time. So we won't play a6 because white has a very easy a4 move. I would have played a6 if this would stop his queenside attack forever, or at least for many, many moves. So h4, he goes a4, and I ignore it. We take on g3, and we play g5, intending this is the way to play. King g7, the king will come here, the queen will go to f6, and here the rook will go to h8, and this is how we must play king g7, takes, and look now, the move a4 by white is irrelevant. So here, bishop c8, very, very good idea to cover the b7 square, and queen e8, very high level play, queen e6, really very high level. The rook is coming here, knight b4. Unfortunately, white cannot play this desired move because black plays here and he can resign. So knight here, queen h6, intermediate move, and bishop takes g3. It is only natural that in this position there are combinations, and white resigned this game without even getting in the trouble to take on g3. So this is one very good game in the same subject. And let's check another one, another game, again in the g3 line, which is playable and good. The g3 line is playable for white, but he needs to be very careful. So here and f5, we have very simple plans. a3 was played. This is simply a loss of time. Black can castle or play queen e7 or even play this move. Maybe this move is a little bit premature. c4 and bishop e6 this time. Queen d3 and h4. It does make sense though. Here, knight e4. C takes d5 because we are not afraid of anything. And after this, queen d7 is simple and good. We can also play endgames. F takes e4, and this is one of my very favorite endgames. g5 and rook c8, and so takes, and king d7. Black has played a wonderful game. He takes over, he removes all the good squares from the white knights, and then he enters from both sides of the board and he wins bishop d6. Very high level game by black. And here he won a pawn, and later he won the game. So this is the way. And let's finally check one last game. This is a game between an online game in the times of Corona between Usmanov and Salimova Nurgul, famous female player from Bulgaria. So let's check the game. c6, a totally acceptable move order. g3 and bishop d6. You see, it's not about move orders. It's about understanding the positions. So bishop e6, because this move is going to be played. Let me repeat, in the g3 bishop g2 system, our bishop belongs to e6. I can start with bishop e6, or I can play f5, knight d7, knight f6, and later bishop e6. It's exactly the same. So here, f5, b3, knight f6, c4, and rook e8. In the previous games, we maybe saw g6 or h5 or other moves. This is totally acceptable. Knight c3 and bishop b4, not really necessary, but playable. And knight e4, very good. Black simply has a very nice game. C d5. If white goes here, now it makes sense to even capture, because we have good play on this side. For example, with h5, threatening h4. And if white plays h4 himself, how to continue here, please? Of course, we will play g5, followed by a very fast f4. Here, it would have been totally wrong for white to say that he has a better bishop than ours. Of course not. Is his bishop taking one of these pawns and I cannot see it? Of course not. His bishop, together with the rest of the pieces, does not cooperate well, and black has a decisive advantage, a big advantage here, let's say. So c d5, e d5, and here, this time bishop d6 makes more sense. And here, bishop b8, who remembers this principle of parking the bishop? Queen d7, black is simply better. h5, black is better. And she won very convincingly. She started an attack here and collected some material and won. Very good. Are we done? Does white have any good idea here? Yes, he does. He has a clever little idea which we need to be aware of. This is what we call the Mamendyarov plan. Let's have a look at this. I was suggesting this idea with the white pieces, which can be played against a careless opponent with the black pieces. Let's have a look at this plan now. So b5, he takes it, we take it, and e3. What we have said so far is valid 100%. We can play bishop d6 or c6 or knight d7. However, c6. However, when I see this move, now I hear bell ringings. This move is the initial move of the so-called Mamendyarov plan, used several times by the Azeri super grandmaster. His idea is to play here and knight e2, knight d2, and also use his kingside pawns by playing g4 and h4. Can we stop this plan? The answer is yes. First of all, we need to know, to understand when this plan is valid and good and when we don't need to stop it. So let's see. We played bishop d6. Let's see what happened here. Black played bishop d6. Here, this game is played by a very young Shahryar Mamedyarov in 2003, many years ago. So he castles. This is a wrong move order. Now white gets to follow the Mamendyarov plan. Look, so far, black does not expose himself with the move queen f3. We will see why. He plays a natural move, knight d2. Castling here is a serious inaccuracy. Look what happens now. Queen f3. And, for example, if we play here, sorry, knight a3 was played. If we play here, look, g4, we already start feeling the pressure. h4, and the knight, and this is coming here, the knight goes to e2, possibly white may castle long, he may even play king f1 if necessary. So we start experiencing problems, we don't really know what to do here, and white is coming. White may also win strategically. For example, after such a move, if we play here and he happily continues like this and knight f5. So that's why we need to be aware of this plan. Knight a6 was played. Let's see how white won this game, because black has already played in the wrong way. Knight c7, knight e2, g6, and here is an important rule. In the Mamendyarov plan with bishop d3 and queen f3, if black manages to play f5, he is always better. I have never seen one position which is equal by the computer. When we play f5, we are better. So, of course, it is white to move. White will play g4. After this, white is better. Let's see how they played. c5, black was played this move, which is weak in order to do something, but his position is bad anyway. White will strengthen with h4. For example, here, h4, and white is looking for a good way, maybe here and f4. He's looking for a good way to attack because black doesn't have what to do. After c5, h4, white won the game very convincingly. He played here, and he won the game. So let's check how to fight against this plan. Here we are. This is one of my bleach games. Let's check how to play against the Mamedyanov plan. First of all, here we pick up a move, c6, bishop d6, knight d7, f5, they are all good. Usually I play bishop d6. Which move initiates, which move rings a bell, which move indicates that I should be careful about the knight d7 plan, please? This is important to understand. I hear bells ringing when I see one particular move, bishop d3, very good. When I see this move, I get up from my lethargo and I'm thinking before I move. So bishop d3, here it comes. Now, what should we do? We must be in position to play f5 as soon as his queen goes to f3. I played c6. I calculated that if he continues with f3, queen f3, black is now better. How should black continue here, please? Who will tell us? Black to play and gain an advantage. It is connected with the f5 push by black. Because if black in the Mamedyanov system gets to play f5, he is always better. So let's see. Very good. The move is g6. Black is threatening to play f5 with a better position. And if white played here, and he was worse without a fight. If white plays g4, this time, of course, we won't castle here. Look, this time he was caught unprepared. This time we strike with h5. And so black is better. After h3, we will win a pawn. After h3, we can possibly win a pawn here, or we can just play here. His plan has failed. He played h3 and g4, hoping for, with our king on g8. Yes, so black is already better. So I played bishop d6. When you see this, you start calculating. Yes, I played c6 because I calculated after queen f3, g6. He goes, let's suppose he goes here. Now we calculate. Let's calculate. We will play one of the standard moves, either f5 or g6 or knight d7 or castle short. So let's calculate the move castle short. No, e4 is not good. It's never a good idea. We just take it. Imagine this is out of the question. Let's suppose we castle here and he goes e4. This is always bad. This is a Caro-Kann with a pair of bishops. It does not stand at all. Black has a good game in the Caro-Kann, even if white has both of his bishops. Yes? So this is immediately better for black, and f5. Immediately better for black. So this e4 is out of the question. Why not just meet bishop d3 with f5? I have the same question. Indeed, f5 is a very good move. Is there a counter argument about this move f5? Yes. What is the argument? I want to set up a trap. I want to play this move so that if he goes here, now I will play g6. And if he goes here, I will play h5. He has failed with his plan. And here we put the knight to f8. We are already threatening to take on g4 and win a pawn. So this is the answer. After bishop d3, can I just play f5 and get done with it? The answer is yes. I will play f5. Later, I need to play also g6, of course. I cannot play knight d7 and castle shot. It is playable and good. But I would like to reverse the situation, play here and set up a trap for white. White should understand that he must not play queen f3 here because of g6. And after this, there is nothing to see. Black is always better after f5. And then the knight comes here. Black is always better. This queen is very misplaced here. So this is the story. If he tries g4, for sure we will not castle short. We will play h5. Is there a rule to generalize it? Like I will always play here, and when I see bishop d3, always here, and when I play it? No, there isn't. We need to understand the positions, play only typical moves, and calculate a little bit when we see the move bishop d3. Very good. So the best that white should do now is that he should play, not castling, of course, knight d7 is the move. The best that white should do now is he should return to the other lines. For example, we castle, he castles, g3, c4, takes, and he should start playing things like this. This is what white must do. Yes, he should understand. He set up the trap doesn't work. He should understand that and get back to normal play. But after this, indeed, we can also play f5 immediately. We show him that we know. Now, if he plays here, this is too much. Yes, g6, black is immediately better. How about that? We can play h5, but look, we can also play here. This is really nothing in the trompowsky. We play knight f6, and here we take with this pawn, and we are doing really very well. Black is immediately better in this position. So we also saw the Mamendyarov plan. There are several wins by Mamendyarov. Very good. Here is one very last game, one bleach game between Mamendyarov and Vasyela Graf. So d5, he takes it, e3, sophisticated move order, knight d7. It's equally good with all the other move orders. Bishop d3, c6, knight d2, bishop here. c3, you see, several waiting moves. And now we calculate. Who will suggest a move for black here, please? This is what it means to understand the trompowsky. Who will suggest a move for black here? We want it to be a typical move, and we want it, since his bishop is on d3, we want it to avoid the Mamendyarov idea. The move is, of course, g6. Bravo to all of you who understood it. The move is g6. This is why Vasyela Graf played g6. If we castle, we land in trouble. Sometimes the computer mistakenly gives this position as equal, but it may be equal for a computer. For humans, this is a very difficult position to play. Here, and for example, h3, we don't know what to do, and h4 is coming. So congratulations to all of you who found g6. This is what Vasyela Graf played, of course. If g4, we play h5, too late. So what white should do, he should not insist. Mamendyarov played this move because it's a bleach game, and he was punished for that. He should have played here, and now we castle, and f5, and we get back to normal positions. For example, after c4, we can capture it, or even play knight f6. And after this, look, please, yes, we can take with a knight, nice and easy. But I also like this position, and the computer likes it too, this cd5. Why? Because if you check the two white knights, they are both very far away from our d5 pawn. So this can also be considered. After g6, Mamedjarov played queen f3, immediately given as a bad move by the computer. Black played f5. Look, if we castle, everything changes once again. g4, white is better. But of course, Vasily Lagrave knows better. He played f5 and knight f6, and now black is better. h5, knight e4. We feel that the queen has nothing to do on f3. Black is already threatening to win the queen with knight g5. So black was better. He won the game. Very good. Let us now go and check something else. So let's check the game between Grischuk and Dominguez. So d4, knight f6, bishop g5, d5, and this move e3. This is a totally playable move, e3. It makes a lot of sense. White is waiting to see. Maybe he will capture on f6. Maybe he will continue with knight d2. We need to know what to do. There are several playable moves here. For example, this move is good. However, if we play here and he takes it, now we need to take with the g pawn. If we take with the e pawn, we need this pawn to be here. So we need to take with the g pawn. And this is another line. This is the Trompowsky with g takes f6. So after e3, what to play? I suggest this move c6. This is a useful waiting move. Once again, we are here giving him the chance to come back to his senses and take on f6. Take here. So we keep this possibility. And e takes f6, and we play these lines of the Trompowsky. However, after c6, most likely, he won't take on f6. First of all, this move is not good at all. We play knight e4. White cannot play with c4. And after this, who will suggest a very nice, visibly very nice move for black here, please? A move that we must play automatically in bleach games and in standard games. The move is e5, and he will receive a check on b4, and now he needs to play here. After this, let's say knight d7. According to the computer, black is much better, and even queen h4, black is much better. We don't need to analyze this position any further. So after c6, most likely he will play this move. This is the best waiting move for white. And now we cannot wait anymore. Theoretically, we can play g6, hoping for him to take on f6. We take with the e pawn and play bishop d6 again. But after g6, we enter the torre. If you like to enter the torre with black, you can also play g6. The best move is this one, bishop g4. Already played several times by many grandmasters. Our play is very simple. He can play knight e2 or f3. It's exactly the same. We develop our pieces, and our next move is either going to be e6 or e5, depending on our calculation. For example, here, bishop h5, and in this game, knight c3 was played. How about this move? We have absolutely no problem. We go here, and if he takes it, black has a really great game because white has created a lot of weaknesses with this f3 move. For example, here our plan is e5 with a very healthy position. Black is probably already better. This bishop is really very powerful because of these weaknesses on the light squares. Generally, black, after c6 and bishop d3 and bishop g4, is very successful. He played knight bd7 here, and now knight bc3. We will calculate e6 and e5. Usually both moves are good. Here, black can play e5 with a very good game. Here, and bishop e7. This is the game between Alexander Grischuk and Dominguez Perez, two super grandmasters. Black got a very satisfactory position. He cannot ask for anything more in the opening. And later, he even managed to win the game. Let us check other games in this important position. Here is the game between young superstar Firouzja, a bleach game, and another young superstar, Pishot Alam. So e3 again, c6, last chance for bishop takes f6, then bishop g4 comes. Bishop d3, because this can be an annoying threat, by the way. So bishop d3 to stop this threat, and bishop g4, f3 or knight e2, it's the same. We go here, next move is knight bd7, possibly even this, but I don't see why to move the same piece twice. So here, and then depending on what white is doing, we may play e6 or e5. Let's see what happened in this game. Here, bishop g6 immediately. It's also playing. Here, knight bd7. The position is equal and good. e4 is condemned by the computer. We take it, and if he takes like this, of course, e5, black is immediately better. White took with a knight, and black, after, for example, e6, the computer prefers even this check here, but we don't have to know so many details. e6, we have a very reliable, good position, very good version of the Caro-Kann, because white has played this f3, which is weakening his position, and it's occupying the natural square from the knight on g1, e6, and here, just a very natural and good position for black, which later, according to the computer, even this b5 is better for black. Later, the game was a draw. Let's check another game here. This game between two super grandmasters, Igor Kovalenko and Lazaro Bruzon. So e3, c6, and next is bishop g4. Here, bishop g4. Maybe one may say, okay, there are other moves. For example, here. Okay, we can play knight e4. We can play just bishop g4. And how about this move? We don't need to know any theory here. We will take it, we will develop our pieces and play a nice game of chess. We cannot win by the opening, but we can get an equal and unclear position. Still, we will need to play good chess. So in the game bishop d3 was played, we are describing this line because it is ambitious. And after this, again, the same position, knight here, knight bd7. This is more accurate than bishop g6. Castles, and now we hesitate between e6 and e5, or even bishop g6. So c4 and e6. This is a reliable and good position for black. The reason is that the knight on e2 is a bit misplaced, and the pawn on f3 is causing weaknesses. We have a very solid position. White played c5. How should black continue? Please, better immediately. How should black continue? Black must play right here, right now. We must not be lazy and say, okay, castle, what the hell? And later we see. No. We must play e5 here. This way we guarantee to ourselves play until the rest of the game. b4, after serious consideration, he played a6 and e4, but according to the computer, knight takes e4, which was played by black, gives him a huge advantage. Later, the game was a draw. So we check this one, this game. Let's check another game. Let's check this game between Simanov and Sasikiran. Again, two very good grandmasters. So c6, bishop d3, bishop g4. Generally, against any other move, like, for example, knight d2, we will play bishop g4. So bishop g4, and bishop here, and knight bd7, e5 or e6. Let's better play e5 here. Bishop b4, maybe even bishop e7 is simpler. He wants to provoke a3 and play bishop a5, or even now bishop e4. And now white cannot castle long anymore because he has played this a3 move. This is very typical strategy. Okay, this is an equal position. I would prefer to have the black pieces here. And g4 is maybe too much. he took here. This is a very good decision. The pair of bishops is irrelevant. Please remember this rule. Quite often, the pair of bishops is irrelevant when our remaining bishop is very powerful. Indeed, this is the case here. With all these weaknesses, f3, e3, and everything, our remaining bishop is particularly powerful, and this compensates for the pair of bishops. This is a general rule, of course, yes? Okay. So, knight g6, very nice idea. Oh, sorry. And f takes, black is doing great, and later he managed to win the game. Let us check one last game in this line. So d5 here, c6 first, and bishop here. What if he plays now? Let's not start this game. This move first and that move first. You can play chess by yourself. Yes, we can play knight e4. We can play here, develop our pieces, and play a nice game of chess. So bishop d3 is the most ambitious move. We cannot and we should not examine all of White's possibilities, even the way he may breathe during the game, because this is not the way to play chess, and this will make us, if we get addicted to studying all possible little moves by our opponent, this has negative side effects. Why? Because we will naturally very often be faced with unknown positions, nevertheless, no matter what we do, and we will tend to feel very uncomfortable there with zero developed creativity. Yes, that's why it is healthy and good not to know absolutely every irrelevant move by our opponent. We will have our brain, we know how to play chess, we will think over the board and play a natural move. So here, knight bd7, bishop f4, for example. Oh, I don't have this in my notes. What to do here? Well, we can play e6, bishop g6, just natural and good chess, c5, and e6. Black is doing very well. After this, he played a6. This move is necessary. And now, look, we are waiting for the move h5, and then we take on g3. Why? On d3, because we will play h6, and now with the white pawn on h5, the g5 advance is less powerful. Look at this, please. If here, instead of a6, we take it, and we play a6 now, most likely, white will not play this. He will try to play a g5 advance, for example, which may be more powerful. So we are waiting for h5 to just take here and now play h6. This is a typical idea. King f2, yes. b5, black has a very good game, and he managed to win the game in the end. Of course, in the database, you can find a lot more pieces, a lot more games. Now look, I have a small collection of miniatures where black won in these lines. Let's check them because they are interesting and it's possible to get it. Here, white has a rating of close to 2,500 and he lost in 7 moves. Let's see what happens. Here, c6, possible miniatures. Here, bishop g4. Let's have a look. What went so wrong? Here, knight bd7, and c4, black to play and win. Black took on c4, and queen a5 check is coming. Takes here, he took on d3, and white resigned. Let's explain, if he takes here, then queen a5 check is winning. This is miniature number 1. Let's check another one, very big names. Aronian, I remember this game for many years ago. Aronian against Rajapov in a rapid game in 2007. So let's check how Aronian lost very fast. Bishop d3, bishop g4. knight e2 was played by Aronian, and naturally knight bd7. And he played c4 exactly the same way. dc4, and here queen a5 check. After this, Aronian could have as well resigned. Rajapov took here to eliminate all possibilities. Yes, some details. We think develop our pieces in the center and play chess. This is the answer. So this is the game. Let's check another game which I won with the black pieces. Of course, my opponent didn't play well. Yes, in chess, white is not supposed to lose in 7 moves or 10. So obviously he did something wrong. So let's check. Knight here, d5. There are some other lines here, minor lines. You will see them in the PGN. So bishop takes f6, e takes f6. Let's see how this game was played. I played bishop d6, c4. I took it. So far, so good. I castled short. I played f5. And my opponent played here. How should black continue? For the moment, I cannot win. But I can play a good move. Be careful. When you see non-standard moves, the best way to handle it is to play exactly the same standard moves. The worst thing you can do when you see strange move by your opponent is to play a strange move yourself. Of course, the correct move is knight d7. If he plays this, the correct move is knight d7. If he plays here, all of a sudden I will play this now? Of course not. I will play knight d7 again. Yes, the best way to punish a non-standard move in most cases is to play exactly the same move. So after this, of course, I played knight d7. And how to punish queen h5? By winning one tempo. This is how it is punished. But he took here, and after this, he lost the game. And he even took here. He was angry. And he played this, and I collected a lot of material, enough material for 3 games. So I won this game, and one final and last game here in the miniature session between 2 very powerful Indian grandmasters, Deep Sengupta and Narayanan Srinath. Let's see, this appears to be a standard game. So c6 and bishop here, and knight d7, f3 this time, castles, bishop g6, c4. Look, this is a very interesting miniature. For the moment, the position is equal. e6. White takes here. Black can take with the c pawn, with the e pawn. He chose this intermediate move. White can simply take on d3. But he chose this move, obviously winning a pawn. But in fact, this move is losing a piece. White captured on e2. And if you can be, black captured on e2 and white resigned here. Why? Because if he takes the plant c, here white resigned. If he takes, he plays this plant move, black will miraculously take back with the knight. And here he is threatening the bishop on g5, and he will win a piece. So I believe we have covered very well all the important details in the trompowsky. You can already, even without studying the PGN, which you will have in a few days, I believe you can start using this line for black. I would like to thank you all for participating, and I will see you in half an hour.